Anthony Richardson, he has all the athletic tools to be one of the most dominant quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. This dude is 6'4", 255 pounds, runs 4.43, has one of the strongest arms in the National Football League right now. But can he put it all together and have a successful career? We've seen what has happened with Trey Lance, somebody who was drafted really high like Anthony Richardson that had a fantastic athletic and physical profile and wasn't able to maximize his potential. Will Anthony Richardson suffer the same fate as Trey Lance, or will he rise above it and be as good as what Lamar Jackson or Cam Newton were, or even better? He has Shane Steichen, who has a really good track record of being able to develop quarterbacks. Justin Herbert, Shane Steichen was his offensive coordinator during his rookie season, and we know how successful Justin Herbert was during the first year of his NFL career with the Chargers. And then Shane Steichen goes to Philadelphia, and in 2 years, he turns Jalen Hurts into one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Can he do the same thing with Anthony Richardson? Anthony Richardson, he was just named the Indianapolis Colts starting quarterback today. And there are many people who keep saying that the Colts made a mistake. You can't start this dude. He's too raw as a passer. Do you not remember Lamar Jackson's rookie season with Baltimore? When he ended up replacing Joe Flacco, he wasn't the most polished passer neither. He completed well under 60% of his passes, but do you know why Baltimore was able to win with Lamar Jackson year one? Because of his athleticism. Do you know why Justin Fields has been somewhat serviceable despite not being the greatest passer up to this point in his career? Because of his athleticism. Do you know why Philadelphia went to the playoffs year one under Nick Sirianni? Jalen Hurts didn't light the world on fire throwing the football, but he was really effective as a runner. You can win in the NFL with a super athletic quarterback and find ways to win with just his athleticism while he develops as a passer in the background. Anthony Richardson is 255 pounds running 4.43. It doesn't matter what kind of scheme you have if you don't have the right personnel to defend against this dude. This dude is a freak. When you have rare 1% athleticism like Anthony Richardson has, there's not too many defensive backs who are going to be able to slow this dude down in the open field. 6'4", 255 pounds. How many teams do you think are actually equipped to stop Anthony Richardson? You got to have the right personnel when you're going against this kind of athlete. You can scheme things up all you want to, but if you don't have the horses up front who have the speed to be able to haul this dude down and keep him from hauling ass down the sidelines 40, 50 yards once he gets past the line of scrimmage, you're going to be in trouble. He may not be the best passer, but he's made gradual improvement. Anthony Richardson has a rocket launcher for an arm. In his preseason debut against the Buffalo Bills, he looked really comfortable in the pocket. He wasn't bailing out of pressure. He was stepping up in the pocket, trying to make big boy throws. And he was pretty impressive. Outside of that one interception that he threw on the first drive, he had a really solid outing. Yeah, he hit a couple of wide receivers a little bit high. He had some missed throws that should have been layups. But that's what you expect out of Anthony Richardson. You see, the expectations for Anthony Richardson should be pretty low. You want to know why? Because Shane Steichen and Jim Irsay already understand that this is going to be a process. They understand that Anthony Richardson is going to have some growing pains. There's going to be a lot of downs, but there's also going to be a lot of highs that comes with Anthony Richardson being the starting quarterback for Indianapolis this year. And he definitely could surprise a lot of people. You know, intangibles is something that doesn't really get talked about a lot when it comes to evaluating quarterbacks. Nobody thinks about leadership. Nobody thinks about time and commitment that said quarterback puts into studying film and wanting to get better. Anthony Richardson is a great character. This is somebody who helped the janitors out after a team event, was picking up trash, and the janitor said, "Nah, you don't got to do this." Anthony Richardson said, "Nah, man, it's not right for us to leave this trash and just allow y'all to pick it up when we were the ones who made that mess." That shows character. That shows somebody that has a lot of love and compassion, not just for the team, but also the people in the organization. Anthony Richardson's attitude is infectious. It's going to rub off on this team in a positive manner, and these teammates are going to go for war or go to war for Anthony Richardson this year. They love this dude. You listen to any Indianapolis Colts player describe Anthony Richardson, they love this dude's character, and they're all behind him. This team is all behind doing whatever it takes to make sure Anthony Richardson succeeds. Same thing with Jim Irsay. They're not going to second guess anything if he struggles his rookie season. They're going to allow Anthony Richardson to go out there and just play ball, make mistakes, and coach him up and help him learn from it. That's what it takes to develop a quarterback in today's NFL. You can't have this kind of athlete just sitting on the bench and think that him holding the clipboard is going to help him develop. Trey Lance was holding the clipboard for 1 year behind Jimmy Garoppolo, and where did that get him? People think the best way to develop a quarterback is just by letting him ride the bench for his rookie season. That's not always the best way for a quarterback to get better. Anthony Richardson doesn't have a lot of experience playing quarterback, not just on the collegiate level, but in the NFL. He's a rookie. He's really raw to the position. So he has to go out there and have those mistakes so he can learn from them. Anthony Richardson wasn't going to learn anything sitting behind Gardner Minshew. All you were doing was taking away meaningful playing time from Anthony Richardson for him to get better. He got better every single drive when they went against the Buffalo Bills. Anthony Richardson is somebody who's going to figure it out. He's a quick learner. He's somebody who's really dedicated to this. He wants to be great. You can see it in his eyes. You can hear it in his voice. You didn't hear that same dedication. You didn't hear that same drive out of Mitch Trubisky. You heard it out of Lamar Jackson. You heard what he told Deion Sanders. He was pissed when he nearly fell out of the first round. He said, Baltimore is going to get a Super Bowl out of me. And even if you don't believe that he's going to be able to deliver a Lombardi to Baltimore, you could have at least believed that this dude was going to be great. You got to judge these quarterbacks also by the kind of work that they're willing to put in. Anthony Richardson possibly could be what many people thought Trey Lance could have been, or what people think Trey Lance can be if he figures it out. This dude, Anthony Richardson, is kind of like a mad science experiment. You ever watch X-Men, Wolverines, when they have all these crazy mutants that have all these kinds of special abilities? Anthony Richardson was built in a lab. Where do you find somebody that has this size? He gained 11 pounds since the combine. He's 255 pounds, dog. He's pretty much Derrick Henry at freaking quarterback. This is like Mike Oslott at quarterback, fam. This is the equivalent to putting your best athlete at quarterback in high school, but teaching him really how to play the position. If Anthony Richardson can figure it all out, which I believe he will with Shane Steichen being his head coach, he's going to be the most dominant quarterback that we've ever seen in the NFL for a very long time, and probably way more dominant than Cam Newton. Cam Newton didn't have this kind of freakish athleticism that Anthony Richardson had. Cam Newton was a freak, but he wasn't 4'3", 255 with this kind of explosiveness and agility that Anthony Richardson brings to the quarterback position. Yes, this is a huge risk that the Indianapolis Colts are taking, but they're okay with it. This was the plan. Jim Irsay never would have hired Shane Steichen if Shane Steichen didn't have a vision. This was already something that was put in motion. They understand that this is going to be a process. The fans are the only people who try to rush greatness, who think that somebody has to be great right away. The Indianapolis Colts aren't the 49ers. They're not in Super Bowl contention. They don't have a great roster. The expectations for the Colts are pretty low. So for Anthony Richardson, he's not going into a situation like Trey Lance was where he has to win right away. He's not going into a situation where you already have a Super Bowl made roster. Like, this team is going to grow along with Anthony Richardson, and that's the beautiful thing about it. And this team is also going to have some lumps in the road along with Anthony Richardson. The Indianapolis Colts or Anthony Richardson or bust. It doesn't matter how great of a team they put around him. If he doesn't work out, then this is going to be a huge disaster. But I think that the Colts made the right decision naming Anthony Richardson the starter. I mean, there were already reports coming out when he first had his first OTAs and minicamp sessions that he was looking better than what initially was reported when he was coming out of Florida. He's been exceeding expectations all off season, and people are now just starting to pay attention. Nobody really pays a lot of attention to minicamp and training camp. I read up on these things, and the reports coming out about Anthony Richardson has been that he's been better than Gardner Minshew in training camp. Indianapolis Colts fans are not shocked that Anthony Richardson is the starter. Most Colts fans will tell you that they saw this coming from a mile away. They always knew that Anthony Richardson was going to be the guy. The only people who are second guessing this are people who aren't fans of the Indianapolis Colts, who don't really keep up with the situation. They go based off narratives. They go based off stigmas. And the stigma with Anthony Richardson is that he's more athlete than he is quarterback, and he'll never be able to be nuanced to be able to learn the position. But that's not true. You can get better as a QB. You can develop as long as you have the proper culture or the proper coaching, and you're putting the right system to succeed. Lamar Jackson had Greg Roman, somebody who specializes in being able to elevate quarterbacks that have that kind of skill set. Look what he did with Colin Kaepernick with the 49ers. Look what he did with Tyrod Taylor his early years in Buffalo, when Tyrod Taylor ended the Buffalo Bills playoff drought, leading them to the postseason for the first time in decades and being a Pro Bowl selection. You got to put your quarterback in the right system to succeed. It's not just all about talent all the time. Sometimes it's also about where you go and the coach that you get and the system that you get put in. The NFL isn't just this gladiator sport where you got 11 people just trying to bash each other's heads into the ground for 60 minutes. There is a lot of chess and a lot of strategy that goes into this. I trust Shane Steichen. And if you trust Shane Steichen, then you should believe that Anthony Richardson is going to be able to work out as a quarterback in the NFL. I think that people are truly scared about what Anthony Richardson could be if he works out. And think about how he could change the NFL. I already told you guys years back in 2018, that Lamar Jackson was going to evolutionize the quarterback position. He was going to pave the way for more super athletic quarterbacks to get opportunities to be QBs in the National Football League instead of having to change their positions and being used as wide receivers or running backs because you question their ability to develop as a passer. If Anthony Richardson works out, do you know how many other cyborgs are going to start coming into the NFL? You ever seen The Dark Knight trilogy with Christopher Nolan, and you got Christian Bale playing Batman? You know, at the end of the first Batman movie, Batman Begins, they talk about escalation. You know, we start carrying semi-automatics, they start carrying semi-automatics. You know, this is a copycat league. Teams are going to copy what's successful. People saw the success that the Ravens had with Lamar Jackson. It is no surprise that we started getting these quarterbacks like Trey Lance and Justin Fields that were super athletic, but had concerns as passers. You want to know why? Because Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, smaller quarterback, paved the way for smaller QBs like Malik Willis and Kyler Murray to get chances. The NFL is about trying to figure out what works, and when you got a team that finds something that works, teams want to replicate and copy that formula. Look how the Bears have constructed their team. They pretty much went about building their offense around Justin Fields the same way the Eagles went about building their offense around Jalen Hurts last year. Anthony Richardson, I think this dude is going to be a stud for the Indianapolis Colts. Am I a little bit biased? I may be. But I do like Shane Steichen as a head coach. He has a really good resume, and he has a really good track record of being able to develop quarterbacks that have this kind of skill set. He did it with Jalen Hurts. He was really good with Justin Herbert. Although Justin Herbert isn't the athlete that Anthony Richardson is, he's a freak himself. I trust Shane Steichen. You got to trust the coaching. coaching trumps all, in my opinion. And that's why I got so much confidence in Anthony Richardson moving forward as the starting quarterback for Indianapolis. Is it going to look all pretty? No, it's not. There's going to be some really ugly games. There may be some games where you see Anthony Richardson go 6 of 25 passing, but have 120 something yards on the ground. And there's going to be some games where Anthony Richardson goes 25 or 35 passing for 300 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. This is going to be a bumpy rookie season for AR, but I think that in the long term, he's going to end up becoming the most dominant quarterback that we've seen in the NFL in a very long time.